I decided to log in into one of the switches, one of the places, one of the hospitals in this case. I was just gonna do like, hey, I'm just gonna go do like a show run command, and I'm just gonna go and grab a copy of the configuration so I can start to look into it and see like how things are connected. That's what I was thinking. Gonna go highlight it. What I didn't know was that a right clicking party doesn't do only the
Oh,
copy, it does copy and paste. and,
yes. Oh, I can't
and
tell you how
so,
many times I've done that.
and well, it was not just a switch, it was the core switch. It just happened to be the core switch of the
Oh.
healthcare company.
Oh my gosh. In today's episode, I was actually able to interview an Azure network engineer that works at Microsoft, and we talked all about his career journey in what it takes to become a network engineer, a cloud network engineer, working at a big organization like Microsoft. So, without any further ado, let's roll to this week's episode. Welcome to the show, Miguel. Do you mind telling us a bit about your current role and responsibilities at Microsoft, and tell us what a typical day looks like for you?
Hey Dakota, I really appreciate you having me here. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm just very grateful to be here. So, my name is Miguel. I am Azure Network Support Engineer for Microsoft. So what that means is that I work in the support organization with Microsoft, giving support to enterprise customers and Azure customers in their networking products. So what that and then what that means is essentially I give out support for any kind of Azure network product, and especially break fix support, troubleshooting, best advice, or just anything that might be coming that can be helped to be better, or break and fix support for like network products. We went and when we think about network products, so things like VPN gateways, application gateways, load balancers, Azure firewalls, and a whole lot more. Definitely a lot more products coming on, but um, that's a little bit of what I do.
Awesome. Do you mind kind of sharing your story on how you like got to where you are in the career field today? What's the kind of different job roles that led up to you having this current position?
Absolutely. I first got started about in IT in 2019. Uh, I started by enrolling in a technical program. It was a 2 years program in the Miami-Dade County Public Schools. It was in networks and systems administration. In this program, we kind of learn about um, mostly networking, systems administration, especially focused on Windows, like domain management, Active Directory, setting up DHCP, DNS, and the basics of IT. So one of the things about the program was that they prepare us to getting started in getting our A plus. Um, that was for like the first my first introduction to IT. Before that, I actually enrolled in the program because a friend of mine or a friend of mine or a friend of my parents, he actually worked in a bank, and he said like this is a very good career that you could get yourself into. It has a lot of demand. You're young, so hopefully like you should if you start young, like you can grow into a good field. That's how I first got started. So I did that. Um, and while studying, I just got myself exposed to many different things. But what really helped me to get my foot on the door was working as a volunteer for the school. I was able um, to talk with the teacher, and he actually uh, he actually worked as an IT technician for the school, but now he was doing the classes. And he mentioned that one time, and I asked him like if there's a possibility like to be like a volunteer or help anything within related in the school. And that's how I got like my first exposure to actually looking at the job and doing the job. So just helping the students, the teachers set up their printers, resetting passwords, setting up like computers for the classrooms, all that. Um, that I was able to use that to build a little bit of my resume. Before that, I was like trying to get some interviews, but it was kind of tough just because I didn't have like the experience coming in. But that helped me to get my foot on the door, and actually, after a couple months in that, and just keep it going with the interviews, I was able to land a paid IT job as an IT specialist. And that was for a dubbing company, so more like a media company. And well, that's a little bit of how I got started. Um, then it mm, after that is like more or less a little bit of history, but I just continue to work in the field as an IT specialist, IT technician, doing mostly everything. That was a very good thing for me, that first job, just because it was like a very small company, just me and my boss. I had the opportunity to touch a lot of different technologies. Um, so we were doing um, all the administration for the Windows, Apple devices, um, all the switching and the firewalling for the different locations that they had. At first, I wasn't doing the configurations, but I got to shadow my boss into how he did the configurations. Um, that was what really got me in love with like the networking field, especially. And after that, I started to study for my CCNA. Um, I got my CCNA back in August of 2020, and since there, it's it's been a great journey on networking. But yeah, that's a little bit of how I got started.
That that's so cool because um, that's very similar to what I tell a lot of people looking to get their start in the field. Starting with some of the entry level certifications, doing volunteer work to start building actual hands on experience. Um, you know, Experience is really important, and I think it's one of the easiest ways to get into a job in the field. And a lot of people come to me and like, well, how can I get the job if I don't have experience? But if I don't have experience, I can't get the job, type of thing. Um, so, you know, in your experience, when you're trying to build up some of those essential skills, and you're just trying to start out, what are some of the skills and qualities that are really like high valued in the industry that you think, and then like how can people that are looking to develop them, how can they go out and get them?
Definitely, and that is really that is really good advice, and I know like firsthand that it can definitely be tough, but I will say that some of the skills that I really value within IT, m- you would think technical skills, and technical skills are important, but it's this one big thing that kids mention over and over and over, which are like soft skills, right? Be able
100%.
Be able to listen to the persons, listen to your coworkers, your users, anyone really about maybe what is the issue that they're having, and you might not have the answer on the top of your head, but you can listen it, you can process it, and you can say like, oh yeah, like yeah, let's take a look into it. Let's see what we can do. I might not know how to help you directly, but for sure, trust me, I will go and find the answer, and we'll get you sorted out. So I
Absolutely.
think soft skills is one big important thing. Another big thing for me that was really helpful just to get like the technical piece within IT was the doing labs. I think that that was one of the big things that since I initially started studying, thankfully, thank God, my teacher he always focused like a lot on doing the labs. And whenever when we come into a problem, he wouldn't give us the answer. He said troubleshooting, like
Right.
go troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Uh, because that's what you're gonna do like once you get into a job. So just be patient, and go through the lab, set it up, break it, and if you break it, see and if how can we fix it?
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that again, it goes back to I think getting that hands-on experience and when you're first learning these skills, it's one thing to read a book or watch a video or something like that. But if you can actually like go practice what you're learning right away, that those skills are going to be better ingrained in your brain, and you're going to retain that knowledge a lot more. And I 100% agree with the whole soft skills is really one of the most important skills, especially I think when you're starting out, because you will learn all the on the job skills, all those hard skills that you need to know to do the job. But those soft skills, those communication abilities and stuff like that, that's a lot harder to teach and a lot harder to, um, find the right person that will fit in a team, especially if you end up working for a smaller organization or on a small team within a big organization. you know your ability to communicate with your other team members and have that like that be able to mesh with them, is really important, and that's what a lot of times the most important thing a hiring manager is looking for is to make sure that person is going to be a right fit because they know they can train all the other skills. And
That's
speaking of,
absolutely
I want,
right.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
sorry for interrupting. I was just
Oh no,
thinking.
go ahead.
I was just thinking, like thinking on the same, like just grabbing on the same thought. What you were saying about the, I guess like connecting with your team and be able to um, know that you don't have to know all the answers, but that you can bring up a problem, and you know that you can collaborate with the people, with the persons within your team to actually get to a resolution. Um, these are some great skills to have. Just be very communicative, and that will be very beneficial.
Well, that actually brings up the next topic I want to talk about is like collaboration and networking in the sense of people networking, in the tech industry. What kind of strategies do you recommend for people building effective, like personal relationships? For it's not personal, professional relationships. How do you go about networking with other people in the industry, and you know, what's some of your advice there?
So that is a great question. I think I didn't understand the power of networking, or I didn't know how to really take advantage of it. Like until a couple years later, actually after working in IT. But then it's really it's a really powerful thing that you can have with networking and connecting with people. Um, I would say, and the reason why I say that is when after I got my start into like my first networking job. I was working for a healthcare company doing or being their network administrator. Um, by that time, I tried to connect like a bit more with people on LinkedIn within my area. So
Mhm.
I started to join like different groups, like the Discord groups for some of the channels were starting for even for like my CCNA before, and just try to post some content, interact with people, um, through actually using LinkedIn and trying to just connect like more with people, share ideas, share knowledge. Um, I um, I was contacted by a recruiter at Microsoft, and that's how I got to know about this job that I currently have. Um, so I think that that is really but really powerful skill. You can definitely take advantage of it like through different ways, but you can connect with people locally, like even like if there is like let's say like a group that you can connect, like maybe like do meetings or just join like the Discord groups for different YouTube channels that you follow. So I know that there's a lot of channels out there like KevTed or the I got it on the top of my head like the Art of Network Engineering.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just a lot more of those, and try to share your ideas. Just share some content. It doesn't have to be like the most awesome, wonderful content of the world that you're discovering. Like I don't know, like the Fountain of Youth. Uh, just share your ideas, what you learn, share about your journey, and that will help to expose yourself to people so you can start connecting and you can grow into those relationships so you don't know like how and I said that to myself like all the opportunities that you can find through connecting with people.
No, that's so true. Um, and it's one of the things I've said a lot on this channel, and I really hate it, but it is the truth that a lot of times it's not what you know in tech; it's who you know. You never know when having a connection might help open the door to a job interview, or if you go through a layoff, and you put out on your LinkedIn, "Hey, I'm looking for work," and someone's you know one of your connections might be like, "Oh, hey, I know you did this at this company. That's exactly what we're looking to hire for. Come apply for us." So having those connections is really, I think, very vital in the tech field in general.
And I will add that is once you are on the field, like don't stop it there. Like just keep connecting with everyone that you can. Connect with the people at your work. Like connect with um, anyone that you can. Just and try to build like the best possible relationships because you never know when that might come helpful.
Absolutely. I'm really curious. So, how has working at Microsoft influenced your like career trajectory, and what opportunities has it opened up for you?
Absolutely. So I would say that working at Microsoft is great. There are definitely challenges in it, but at the same time there are many benefits. Microsoft is a company that gives you a lot of tools to be successful at your job. That's the way that I would put it. And one of the big advantages that you have is usually the people that surround you. So you are surrounded with a lot of smart people, um, persons that have maybe done your job for 10 years, 12 years, that at any point that you may have like something where you feel blocked, like an issue, you can just brainstorm ideas like, hey, I have seen that, or this could be this, or have you checked this out? Um, I That's one of the things that I really like about working here at Microsoft. Now, when when you say like I guess like my perspective like coming into here, what's that the could you say that one more time, Dakota? Sorry, I just wanted
Yeah.
to
So
make sure I
I
understand good.
no, I was just curious of like what career opportunities has opened up for you, in since you've actually started working in your current job.
Okay, yeah. So for career opportunities that has opened up for me, I will say that it definitely had expanded in- I would say like it has expanded my mind into some of the things that I wasn't even aware of. So like one of the good things about working in this so as I was mentioning earlier, right? Like I work like more on the support side of the things within Microsoft. So there are many different teams that works the different products within Microsoft. So when we think about this, I on the networking team, but there are teams that work like on databases. There are some other teams that work in virtualization. Um, so usually when something occurs Like you have to jump on a call and help a customer with like it could be like small issue, but at the same time, usually are like big issues that happen, like something broke, and now you have to go and jump troubleshoot, like try to get their environment and see where things went wrong, and
Yeah.
try to do like some reverse engineering into that. Um, but that gives you like a lot of exposure into all the things that are being used out there. So now I feel that that's something that made me like a little more of a complete engineer, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
It has opened like a lot of good opportunities and also networking opportunities to um, just connect to people within my field and really to get to advance more into my career, into networking and IT in general.
Yeah, no, that sounds so exciting. Um, you know, I think that a lot of people out there like they dream of working for like a big organization like Microsoft or maybe Facebook or something like that. But I think it's actually they can be a little intimidating working for such a large tech company. What advice would you give someone aspiring to work for a giant like Microsoft and advance their career in the tech industry?
It definitely can be intimidating. I can say that for before here, I was usually working just like on small and medium enterprises. So I was not expecting to really work for like a big company. On my like earlier in my career, I thought like that would more be like it's not like an end goal or like a medium, or like a more like on a senior level of the when I get like more seniority into my career. But I would say that it's not really the case because I have once I come here, I have seen like people from many different backgrounds, and that was like really mind blowing in some sense. I really like to see that because um, there are like many different perspectives like whenever it comes and I have like coworkers that might come like from a totally different background but then they maybe it was like a music bachelor even and like they started to um start to pivot like their career into IT um maybe work for a little bit for another company 6 months a year the opportunities to be a support engineers open up like a Microsoft, and they actually got into here like very
Yep.
early in their career. Mhm. So what I would say is like if you want to work like for any big company, it really or like any of these companies, don't be afraid of just applying and connecting with the people out there. Like be attentive for like example for example in Microsoft they have their careers pages and like that's like careers Microsoft.com and you can just go there and look at the jobs and try to get an idea of what are some of the qualifications and some of the things that they are looking for so you can get to um, maybe use that as like a stepping stone or as a things that you can use to work within yourself like oh maybe like here like they're looking for someone that knows and they can say anything, right? It's more like a wish list
Right.
sometimes, but like they're looking for something that knows like Linux networking, or they're looking for someone that knows like Windows administration. And I know some of that. I can learn a little bit more, but you can use that just to prepare. And as soon as you see an opportunity that even if you might not get like, or you might not have the 100% of the qualifications for the job description. You might have like a 50, 60, who knows? Just apply because
Yeah, absolutely.
you never know. Like they might call you, and once you get into the interview, uh, things might fluid might flow great with your manager or with the hiring manager and um, with your possible coworkers, and that could bring up a great opportunity.
No, and the other thing I say is you never know when you might be the most qualified candidate to apply. You know, I see it time and time again. Most of these job posting that these organizations put out there, they're not necessarily a requirement, but more of a wish list. And then there's times when these job postings are also not written by someone who has any idea what the job actually does. They just went to another job board and found something that sounded fancy, so they copied and pasted that. Um, so I'm my biggest advice is if you are at all interested in the job, like if it sounds exciting to you, apply whether or not you think you're qualified, because one, you never know when you might be the most qualified person to apply. Two, you never know when you might have the best personality, going back to those soft skills. And, you know, again, yeah, you never know when you might just, hit it off with like the hiring manager. Um, when I got my job that I'm currently at now, um, I was not the most qualified. I was like the least qualified person that applied for my job. I'm a college dropout. I really didn't have much certifications. I had little experience. And I was going up against people's with like master's degrees applying type of thing. Like these guys were super qualified, but I got offered the job, and my boss came back and told me, there was way more qualified candidates that applied for this job, and there was actually some of the candidates were like upset because they're like, "How could someone have more qualifications than me?" But
Mhm.
he told me the reason I hired you is because I could tell that you had that spark in you, you had that eagerness to learn. You were a great communicator, and I thought you'd be a great fit with the team. And I think that kind of just brings everything we've talked about today back to full circle, really.
I love that, and I love the fact you bring like that willingness to learn, or that like that flame, right? Like
Yeah,
to always keep looking to learn, always be open to ideas, always look for always looking for the other people's opinion and everything. Like just because there's so many things like within IT that you cannot know everything.
right.
Mhm.
It is so true. It's time for like one of my favorite parts of the interview. So I'd love to hear a story about like a disastrous scenario that like where things were going all wrong, but how what did you do to remedy the situation? Because I think it's really important. Everyone thinks that you have to know everything in tech, and that's not always the case. And you're gonna make mistakes. First of all, let's just get that out there. You're gonna make mistakes, and you're not gonna know it all. You're not expected to know it all, but you're also expected to know where to find the information. So, do you have like a story that sticks out in your mind where like you came into like a disaster where things were going horrible, and what did you do to fix it?
So I had a bit of an interesting story. That was back when I got my first like full networking job, and this was being the network administrator for this healthcare company. So my first week, just getting started, um, I got introduced to my boss and to my coworkers, and just like all of the projects and things that were going on. Like, hey, this is something that we want to do. Like, we want to implement this. This is what we have now. This is what we want to change. So I was just taking a lot of notes and see like, okay, I got like this priority of things, and one of the things that they wanted to do was like I started to map out everything, like doing like a network diagram and just trying to get like configuration backups for everything. I um, I got my notes and I went home. Like so after my first week, I decided to like on a Saturday morning. Uh, it was no, actually, it was a Sunday morning. Uh, I decided to log in into one of the switches, one of the places, one of the hospitals in this case. I um, I decided to join into that switch, and I was just gonna do like, hey, I'm just gonna go do like a show run command, and I'm just gonna go and grab a copy of the configuration so I can start to look into it and see like how things are connected. And that's what I was thinking. So one of the things that I didn't know is that I actually did a show run in the using Putty, and then I was trying to copy that configuration. I was just gonna go highlight it, and what I didn't know was that a right-click in Putty doesn't do only the
Oh,
copy; it does copy and paste. and,
yes. Oh, I can't
and
tell you how
so
many times I've done that.
and well, it was not just a switch; it was the core switch. It just happened to be the core switch of the
Oh,
healthcare company.
oh
So
my gosh.
when I click right click, I saw like the just the my like my actual terminal, right? It went blank. Like it wouldn't
Yeah.
do anything. Like I was like, oh, that's
Oh
not
my
good.
gosh. Yeah.
And then I was trying to like pin the switch, connect it to the VPN, nothing was working, and I was like, oh no,
Oh,
what just happened now? And that was like that's the moment when you feel like that coldness into your stomach.
yeah. Just that rock in the pit of your stomach. Yeah.
And that was like, oh no, what do I do now? But then I said like, well, I just gotta go and fix it. Okay, so if I inputted this configuration, but I didn't save it, like hopefully we can just restart the switch, right?
Yep.
So that was it was on a remote location, like where that was located. But I called one of my coworkers that work into that location. I actually like say like, oh man, I really sorry. I actually just made like a I was on one of the switches and I was trying to get some configuration. But in this case, I took down the network, and you don't want to down the network. But
Yep.
what we need to do is that. So this is the switch that I was remoting into. Do you know that switch? And he said, yeah, I know that one. And so he actually went there and restarted the switch. And the next day, well, after he restarted, the all the network just came back up. The problem resolved.
Nice.
And on the next day, one of the things that I did, I was actually went and talked with my boss and say like, hey, I was like on the network, I was trying to get a backup of that configuration, and I made this mistake. I took the network down for X amount of minutes,
Yeah.
and but I I learned about this, and I just came up like sincerely about that experience, and he said like well, like, don't worry about it. Like, we all
That's
make
cool.
mistakes. Just try not to do that. Like, okay, now you know about it. So, that will
I,
be a good learning experience.
I've done that exact same thing myself, where I've had to make that call of shame to, this was actually a switch that was in another state, and I had to call someone up there. It was a hotel, and I happened to get the maintenance guy. I'm like, hey, I need you to go pull the plug on the switch and plug it back in. So I've been exactly in the shoes, and I've even so like today actually I was on the phone call with a tax support for this piece of hardware, and I watched them literally do that exact thing today. I mean, so it's funny that you mentioned that. You know, again, all goes back to we're human. We're going to make mistakes, um, but it's important to own up for those. Because in all honesty, most of the time, nothing's going to happen. You're going to get a slap on your hand. told, don't do that again. And you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn something from that experience. So,
And that is the
absolutely,
best. I would say that that's probably the best experience that you can learn. Like when you learn on your own, either because you've been on a problem and that is the type of problem that makes you go bang your head against the wall, or
yeah,
like you made a mistake, like well trying to get into something, or trying to figure out something. Those are the things that like get engraved into your brain and that makes you actually like grow. So I love that thought about we're all humans, we make mistakes, but we can learn from those and uh, be better from them.
absolutely. So, as we land the plane here, what are some final words of encouragement or insight that you'd like to share with the audience?
Absolutely. So I would say always keep learning. Uh, Always look up for ways that you can improve. So one of the things that one of the ways that I like to learn is, and you can do many things. I'm just gonna share like a little bit of what I do, but um, for example, you can get your certifications, you can set up labs, you can go and follow people that you admire that are in places where you might would like to be and that share content, interact with that content. And even for certifications, one of the things that I usually like to do is whenever you're studying for a certification, you can go bring up the exam objectives and go through them, studying, just prepare for them, but at the same time, try to lap them out. Like do all that you can to make um, some labs and just try to get like more hands of experience out of that. Like even for like the Contilla exams or any exams that you might run to, just try to take like advantage of actually getting the knowledge from those. But yeah, always keep
Yeah,
learning, and I think that you will do good.
absolutely. If people want to reach out and connect with you and stuff, where can they find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn mostly. Yeah, my name is Miguel Angel Foja. So usually in there I try to um, put some content here and there, and I also have a little blog that I got started this year. It's more of a side project, but I'm trying to publish some content usually related to networking and tips for troubleshooting and for situations or configuration guides. Anything that just really comes to mind. That is mfk-labs.com. So you can
Awesome.
also look it up in that over there.
Yeah, no, we will definitely make sure and put the links to those down in the description. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and give us so much great information and knowledge.
Thank you so much, Dakota. Really appreciate coming into here. You are a great host, and I wish you the very best of the best. You deserve it. Thank you again.
I, I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, keep learning.